Welcome to level 2 of Microsoft Word. The main purpose of this course is to show you some of the features of Microsoft Word that can make your life a little bit easier. The main task we'll be working on is creating a parent letter template. I know some of you may have a template you use to send out to parents, and that can definitely be something you tweak and modify. But for the final product in this course, you will have to provide a sample of a parent letter template, and it'll have to have certain things on it. So as we look at the instructions there, we're going to have a header, a watermark, a border, a text box, a digital signature, and then either a message or a filler text to kind of show us how the formatting is going to look. So before we look at the example, I do want to point out that there is a rubric here, so you can click on the rubric and you can see each part you'll have to have in your template. Now let's go ahead and look at the example I created. So again, this is just an example. You do not have to have the exact same things I do, but you do have to have each part. So up at the top here we have a header. So a header is just different than just putting something at the top of the page. There's actually a designated area that's marked off as a header, and it has special features. So we're going to be going over that. Here you can see my filler text. This is lorem. This is one example. There's also a random text you could put in here. I like using this lorem just because it's one of the first ones I use and it's easy for me to put in. In the background we have a watermark. We do have a border going around the page. I have a text box in there, and I use a text box in some of my letters as a parent contact info. So if parents either want to cut this out or if they want to take a snapshot of it, they'll have my contact info really easily. And then a digital signature, and I'll show you how to get that on your document. So those are the main features you'll be looking for. Now I'm going to walk you through how to get each of those in your template. So the first thing we'll have to do is open up a brand new Word document. So I'm going to go to my Start menu, click on Word, and open a brand new Word document. Just going to do a blank document to start. We're going to start by inserting a watermark. So a watermark is a faint image, or it can be words like confidential that's written in the background, just to kind of either give it some more aesthetics or to provide some important information. So to put a watermark on our page, we're going to go to the Design tab up here on the ribbon. Now the Design tab has a lot of different things we can choose from. One thing I did want to point out real quick is it does have this theme button, and there's a lot of themes. So you can choose a theme, and what that'll do is kind of give you a font type and a color scheme to go along with your letter. So some people may choose to use this. You can also choose your own theme colors if you want to do that as well. So we're going to be over here on the watermark button. So when I click that, I have an option of some built-in examples of watermarks right here. So if I have a confidential document going out, I can just put that, and that would be in the back of my letter. We're actually going to go down to custom watermark. Now the custom watermark I want is going to be a picture. So I'm going to click on picture watermark, and I'm going to select it from my files. So we can search for one on Bing if we wanted to, but I'm going to go from a file, and I'm going to look at my pictures. Now I have the SS Wildcats one I'm going to use as my watermark here. There it is, and I'm going to insert that. So now that is in there. I can see the file location right there. The scale I'm going to leave there, and it's going to be washed out, of course. You want that watermark washed out so it doesn't interfere with the readability of the text. So I'm going to click apply. It popped up back there, it resized automatically. Now I can just click close. So now that watermark is back there. You can see that I don't have access to it right now. It's just kind of back there. It's going to be in the background. If I have text, when I put text, it's going to go right over the top. So that is good to go. So we have our watermark in. The next thing we're going to do is look at putting in a header. So to insert a header, again, a header is this area at the top of your page that is designated for a title. You do have an option of headers or footers at the bottom of the page. Now the difference between doing a header and then just writing something at the top is a header will be hugged more tightly to the top margin, and it'll also repeat on pages if you select that. So you can have a header that'll appear up on multiple pages. To get to the header, a quick shortcut I use is instead of going and finding it up here on the ribbon, if you just go up to the top of the page and double click, that'll bring you into the header area. So now I'm going to click out of that real quick, and I want you to watch right up here on the ribbon. When I double click on that header, I now get that header and footer area that pops up here. So now I have the ability to edit it. That lets me know that that's active. Now you can also, instead of double clicking, if you go to insert, you have the option right here of clicking header, and you can insert a header right there. So then you also have different designs you could choose from if you wanted those as well. Alright, so now that we're in our header area, I have this highlighted up here, I'm good to go. One thing I like to do is if you have a letterhead, it should go in the header area. So a letterhead I like to use is actually on the school website. So I'm going to pull up the school website real quick, and I'm going to show you how I got my header. So I like this little logo that we have as a school. It's a really good header to use. So if I want to use this as a header, I need to first save it as an image, but I like to right click, and I'm going to go open image in new tab. That's going to give me that image on a brand new tab here now. So now if I right click and I go save image as, I can save that as the SSISD header, and then I can go find it. So I'm going to go ahead and save that in my pictures and save. So now I have a header in here I can use. So I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to go back to my header. I'm going to go to insert picture from this device. Now I need to find that header I just saved. So once I'm in here, I can either search by it. So this is, I have set up alphabetically. So I can go down to the S's. There we go, SSISD header. So now when I put that in, you can see it got put in as transparent. So that's the difference between clipping and then saving it as. When I save it as, it actually saves as a transparent background. If I were to clip it or snip it with the snipping tool, then it would just be the background that was available for it too. So now once this is in here, you can see that when I click on it, I'm going to click out of it real quick. When I click on this image that I just put in, watch the ribbon up here again. I now have the ability to format the picture, so if I wanted to change it at all, I could do that. I just kind of want to drag this and make it a little better looking. Alright, I can make it more centered. Okay, so if I have it where I want it, I can see I still have some wasted space up here, so I'm going to show you a quick shortcut. If you need to move something up, you can in the header and footer. You have the option right here. You can change the distance from the top, so you could scoot that up right there if you wanted to, or scoot it down however you wanted to. But you also have the option of over here where this little ruler is. If you click and just drag that up, it can move up wherever you want it. So that's how you get that letterhead right inside your header. Now for the parent letter, I also want to have some text. So I'm going to put some text below that has the title of my class, so Mr. B's 5th grade class, or however you want to title your class. So I'm going to click at the end of that image, hit enter, and I'm going to write the text I want in there. Alright, so now I can take that, if I highlight it, I can center it. I can change the font size, make it a little bigger here. I can change the font type, so if I want to choose a different type of font. Curls is always a good one. Okay. Now you also, I want to show you real quick, if I have that highlighted, The text effects right here, this is something that instead of doing word art, you can just do this text effects, and that can give you some really cool features. So I like the glow is one feature I use a lot. I think it looks kind of cool. So I can have that glow. I can change the font color to blue, and there we go. Now when we look at my header, I have a nice cool title for my class. I have my letterhead. It looks a little bit more official. Okay. All right, so now I have my header in. The next part I want to talk about is putting in a border. So you can see as I'm building this, I'm kind of building all the extra stuff first, and then I'll get to the letter part next. So now I want to put in a border. So if I need to put in a border, I'm going to go back to the design tab, and right over by where our watermark was, we have the ability to do a page border. You can change the page color as well. Just be careful. That eats up a lot of toner and printers if you have to print them out. So we're going to click on page border. Now there are a lot of features here you could choose from. I like to keep my borders simple, so I'm going to go with a basic squiggly line down here. And then I want the color to be a yellow to keep with our theme. I could change the width if I want it more pronounced. I could change the weight of that if I needed to. You do have the option for this art, so if you really want to get fancy, so let's say you're sending out a Christmas letter, you could have Christmas trees going around. There's all sorts of stuff you can do there. And I'm going to push OK. So now you can see I have that border popped up around. It looks really good. Now I can see right here that if you look at my header, that doesn't quite fit like it's supposed to. I'm overlapping my border. So what I can do is come back into my header, and I can drop that down a little bit just so it fits inside my border. There we go. It's all about the details. Okay, so I have my header in, I have my watermark, and I have a border in there now. The next thing we're going to do is looking at inserting text box. So text box are really great because they add depth to your document, so you can add really layers and you can stack things on top of each other. So I'm going to put a text box in here. So to get a text box, you're going to go to Insert, and over to the right you have Text Box. So I'm going to click that little drop down. Now there are some different formats you could choose from. They have some kind of pre-designed things for you. I usually go with the blank one and then spruce it up however I want to. So when I talked about this text box being layers, you can see that it's showing up on top, and even if I have text in here, I just wanted to show you real quick. If I drag this around, you can see it's going to move my text around. I don't really like that. It gets my formatting all weird. But if I have it selected, this right here will allow me to bring to front. So now that would be on top of everything. So you have the ability to change the depth of your document with this text box. So this text box we're going to use, like I said, for mine it's going to be some contact info. So this, maybe I'd give my email. I would give my phone number. Now this is one I know giving out your phone number may be a little bit scary. One thing I would suggest to you is if you're going to give out a phone number, you could actually use something called Google Voice. And if you have a Google account, when you sign up for Google Voice, it's free. You'll be able to create a new number. It'll give you a brand new number that'll link straight to your phone if you want to set up on your phone. So you don't actually have to give out your personal cell phone number. It'll give you a new number so you can keep that information private. So now I'm going to center this. I'm going to bold and underline that part. And there's my contact info card. So now I can have this on my document. It's in front of everything. Now parents can choose to cut this out, whatever they want to do with it. Now you also do have the option, I want to show you real quick, I'm going to click off that. Watch up at the ribbon again. When I make that active, so I click on it, I now have this option for shape format. So this allows me to format that text box. So this is where if you wanted to take out the background of it, you could get rid of the fill. So then it would just be a transparency box. What I actually like to do is with the outline, if it's something I expect parents to cut out, is change it to dashes so it looks more perforated, so parents know that they can kind of cut that out. Alright, so now we have our text box in there. Oops, actually I deleted my text box. Now our next part is going to be to put in some filler text in here so that we know how it's going to look when it's all formatted, and we know where to type when we go to edit our document. So I'm going to start off with my greeting. So this could be dear parents, guardians. Now for your filler text, you can either type your message here and then save this and then change that every time. There's a shortcut I want to show you real quick. If you type in equals lorem, L-O-R-E-M, and then you tell it how many paragraphs you want, which is 5, how many sentences you want in each paragraph, which I could say 4. So I just did lorem parenthesis 5 comma 4, and I hit enter. It's gonna fill in some just gibberish text for me. So now I can get a better idea of what this is gonna look like when I go to print this out. So that's just a real quick hint to use, or a real quick feature that you can take advantage of. Now there are other ones, like you can type in RAN for random and it'll fill in random English. That's up to you to how you want to use that. But I think that lorem is a quick way to get some nice filler text on there that you can have. Alright, so now our next part we're going to do, so we have our filler text in, and I'm actually going to change the size on this filler text. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for my parents. You can see this text box, it's adjusting. I'm going to take that, just keep it where I want to. So now the next part I'm going to work on is putting in my signature. So we can put our salutations on there, leave a space for our signature, put the print of our name on there. Okay. So now, in the past, if you wanted to send out something with your signature on there, you'd have to print them all out and sign them. But with Microsoft Word, you do have the ability to digitally ink. So you can write on documents using your mouse. If you have a touchpad, you can use that. It makes it really easy. But that involves using a feature that may not be on your Word right now. So I'm going to show you how to get that. So right now, if you look up at my ribbon, you see I have a draw button. And not everyone's going to have this draw button right now, but I'm going to show you how to get that. So this draw is a special thing because I have a touch screen. It shows up automatically. But if you don't have that draw button, all you have to do is follow these steps. So you're going to go to File. You're going to go down to Options. Now once you're in Options, you're going to come down right here to Customize Ribbon. Now this is the cool thing about Word, is there are so many different features on here that don't come automatically. So if I look at this and I go to All Commands, there are all these that exist that don't show up on your ribbon right away. So you can customize your Word to be whatever you want it to be. Now this is alphabetical, so if I look down, you do have this draw option down here, so that draw. Now if I don't have it on my list, I could click that, I could add it, and it would come over to my ribbon. Now you can see on mine that I have draw already down here, but if I unselect that, so you see up in my ribbon right now I have draw, I unselect it, click OK, that draw just disappeared, so it's not there anymore. If I want to put it on there, I'm going to go to Options, Customize Ribbon, and I want to make sure that draw button is checked. Now I'll click OK, and now I have draw back again. So now I can click on draw, I can do draw with touch, draw selected. But now once that's there, you can choose your pen type. So I want to do a pencil. I think that gives a little bit better signature. And I'm going to go ahead and write my signature on there. Don't make fun of my signature. Should have been a doctor. So there's my signature. So now you have the ability to put that on there, and really what it does is it makes your letters look a little bit more official, a little bit more personalized, like you put a little bit more effort into the letter. So it just makes it look a little bit more polished. Alright, so now we have our digital signature in there. We're good to go. The next thing we want to look at is before we send a letter out, I always like to check the print preview because I want to know how this is going to look when it's all printed and ready to go. So to get a print preview, I'm going to go to File and Print. Now that print preview is going to come up right there, so I can see this is what it's going to look like when I print it out. Now one thing you always have to be careful with the watermark is you don't want it to interfere with the reading of the text. And if I look at this watermark, I can see that may cause some problems. It gets a little dark. So what I want to do is I actually want to go lighten that up a little bit before I print that out. Now this could be a little bit of a problem for some because I can't get to it. What do I do? Now the way you actually get to edit that watermark is if you go into the header area, just like so. If I go to just like we did before, just double click on that header, it's actually going to bring up now. If I click down on the watermark, you can see I got my box around it. I have the ability to edit that now. So I am actually going to bring that up a little bit too. And now I want to edit it. I need to make it lighter. So now that it's selected, if I go up here to picture format, I can actually change that brightness. So 0% all the way to +40, so I can make it brighter. So now I can go to my print preview again. I just made it brighter. I can see how that looks when I go to print. There it is. It's a lot lighter. For me personally, that may be a bit dark still. So if you need to adjust it more, again, you can click back into that header area, select your watermark, picture format. Now the brightness only goes to +40, so we're going to have to go to this picture correction options, and we're going to adjust that brightness. And I'm going to bring mine to 94. So when you look at that +40 to -40, that's going off of 50%. So a +40 actually means 90% brightness. Doesn't really make any difference, but just so you know. So I'm going to bring that to 94. You can see it lightened up even more. So now when I go to my print preview, there we go. Now it's nice and light. It doesn't interfere with the reading of the text. It looks good put together. I'm good to go. All right. So now our letter is all done. We have our template completed. We can double check that we have everything. When I look at this, I have my header, I have my border, I have my watermark, my filler text, my digital signature, and I have a text box in there. So I have all the pieces I need to have for this template. So what I want to do now is right now this is not saved, so I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go Save As, I'm going to save this into My Documents, and this will just be whatever you want to title it. I would suggest putting the word template next to it so you know that that's your change copy you want to have. You're just going to save it as a normal Word document first, and then I'm going to show you one other thing before we're done here. So I'm going to save that. So now this is saved as my template. All I'd have to do is open that up, make my adjustments. I could type my new letter, go to File, Save As, save it as a new copy, and I'd be good to go. I do want to show you one other thing. Now, right now, this is just really considered a working document. This is something I could come in, I could work on, I could save a new copy, and then keep this as my fresh copy. But what I want to show you real quick is how to save this as a template so that you don't have to go through the save as thing every time and messing up your original. You don't have to worry about any of that. So instead of working on the original, what you can do is you can go to File, and I'm going to click on Save As. But instead of saving as a Word doc, I'm going to click that little drop down and I'm going to save this as a Word template. So it's a little bit different style. So now I can save that as a template. So this is saved in my templates. Now I'm going to show you something real quick here. I'm going to close Word and I'm going to open it back up. And I want to show you how fast it is to get that template now. So now that template, it'll show up right here. I can actually even pin that up there so that it'll stay up there so I can go find it. But it's also, if I go to more templates over here on the right hand side, I have it right up here, or I could go to personal templates and there it is. So all I'd have to do is click that and it would open up. Again, this is document 1, so this is not an original I'm going to be messing up. This is a new template. So I could go through, edit this, save it, and I'm good to go. So that's how you save something as a template. Alright, I'm going to close that now. Alright, so we made our template. So now the last part we have to do is we have to submit that. So back on our team, we are going to have to go to Add Work. And we need to upload from this device. Now I save that in my documents right here, my SSID letter template. I'm going to click that. I'm going to click open. It's going to load into there. Once it's uploaded, I can click done. I can double check it right here. Now if I want to go through and double check this, I could double check all of this to make sure it has all the pieces I need to have. Again, header, border, filler text, watermark, digital signature, text box, it's all in there. Close, it's good to go. Double check your rubric, turn in, and you are done with level 2. If there are any questions on this, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.